stop washing your armpits with soap. Seriously, within a couple of weeks, you might actually smell better. I know it sounds insane, but hear me out. I rolled my eyes too, then spent 3 days down a rabbit hole of scientific papers, and honestly, we've been played.
Retracted fake science!
What?
These guys, 300,000 years ago, no soap, no shower, would have stood next to you every morning and still smelled better. A human lived in a cave, without hot water, without deodorant, without soap, for 300,000 years, and didn't stink. And that's definitely not what the white-toothed guy in a towel from the commercials is selling you. So what happened between that cave and your bathroom? Early humans smelled the way they did not despite their bodies, but because of them. And you smell bad not because you're dirty, but because you've done something to your biology that it never expected. And it's something you do every morning, thinking it's the right thing to do. We're going to follow the path from that cave to your bathroom. And at some point, you'll realize who's really the one that smells strange. Okay, here's the fact that honestly made me sit and stare at a wall for 5 minutes. Fresh sweat, barely smells like anything. I'm serious. You walk out of the gym, drenched, dripping, and in theory, almost zero smell. Sounds like a cruel joke, right? Because we all know real life works a little differently. So here's why. Your skin is covered in bacteria, and honestly, they could not care less about you. They eat your sweat. They digest it. And whatever comes out the other end of that little process, that's the smell. So technically, you don't stink, they do. You're just the free buffet, open 24/7, no days off. Now let's talk about how this buffet is built. You've got 2 types of sweat glands, and they basically live in parallel universes. First, the eccrine glands. They're all over your body. They pump out almost pure water just to cool you down. Quiet little workers, total introverts, running in the background like that antivirus you installed 3 years ago and never thought about again. But the second type, the apocrine glands, pits and groin. That's a whole different movie. These guys pump out a thick, oily mix. Proteins, lipids, organic stuff. Basically, an all-you-can-eat buffet for bacteria. And every sharp, funky, unforgettable smell you've got, it comes from right there. And here's where it gets interesting. To understand what's going wrong with us today, we gotta look at a guy sitting by a fire 300,000 years ago. No soap, no sugar, no cotton. His bacteria were living on a completely different diet. But before I tell you what they did, it's worth looking at something else. What wasn't in their scent. And that list matters far more than anything else. Your sweat is directly determined by what's on your plate. Sugar, processed oils, and factory-farmed meat don't disappear without a trace. They come out through your pores, throwing a real feast for the bacteria on your skin. And then you wonder why they turn it all into a harsh, sour scent when you're the one footing the bill for their buffet. Our ancestors ate differently. Wild game, berries, roots, and honey. No refined sugar, no trans fats. These people had no idea what a deadline or a mortgage was, but their armpits were doing just fine. Science backs this up. A 2015 study published in the journal Science Advances examined the Yanomami, a people living far from processed food, and found that their microbiome differs dramatically from that of modern city dwellers. The difference was like night and day. Clean fuel on the inside means calmer, more balanced bacteria on the outside. This isn't a call to move into the woods, but it is a reason to rethink your breakfast. Because food changes not only your waistline, it changes how clean you smell. Half of your scent isn't born in your armpit at all. It lives on your plate. You're causing this problem yourself every single morning. And with the best intentions. Think of your armpit as a neighborhood. 90% are quiet, peaceful residents who keep things fresh. And the other 10% are rowdy neighbors looking to throw a wild party. As long as the peaceful ones are in the majority, everything stays balanced. But then, you scrub down with harsh antibacterial soap that kills 99.9% of germs. What the label hides is that the good guys are included in that 99.9%. You literally level the whole neighborhood. Here's what happens next. The rowdy bacteria bounce back first and take over 100% of the empty space. By 12 p.m., you've completely lost that clean morning freshness. You start scrubbing twice as hard, and they return 3 times faster. It's a vicious cycle. Our caveman ancestors didn't have this issue. Their skin microbiome lived in perfect peace, with the good guys holding down the fort for generations. No morning warfare, just 100% natural balance. Imagine clear-cutting a forest every single day and wondering why only weeds grow back. That's exactly what you're doing to your skin. Every morning. Singing in the shower. Okay, it all seems clear now. It's about food and soap. But that's not the whole story, because there was something else. Something that turned the smell of our ancestors from merely tolerable into a signal. Not just a signal, a language. An entire communication system that we systematically wiped out over decades and never even noticed what we'd lost. Here's the thing, almost nobody says out loud, even though it once decided who'd end up sitting by the same fire with whom. For your ancestors, body odor wasn't a problem to be masked with a spray. It was an entire language. The body spoke it without saying a single word. Scent gave you an honest report, whether a person was healthy, what they ate, and, the wildest part, it whispered about genetic compatibility straight into your nose. Swiss biologist Klaus Wedekind hands out to women t-shirts that men had worn for several days. No names, no photos. Back then, the internet took 3 minutes to load a single picture. So there was nothing romantic in the air, unlike the t-shirts. And here's what he dug up. Women were drawn to the scent of men with a different set of immunogenes. Scent was a passport, a resume, and a medical record all at once. And it was read in a split second. No dating apps, just the nose. And it worked more accurately than any Tinder, with no subscription and no ads. And now, the unsettling part. The same experiment was repeated with women on hormonal medication that alters body chemistry. And the choice flipped upside down. The ancient system glitched, and the wrong scent started to attract them. 300,000 years of evolution built this mechanism, and a pill and a little bottle of perfume took it apart in half a century. We doused ourselves in deodorants and perfume, and drowned out a signal our species had been picking up for hundreds of thousands of years. We didn't start smelling better. We just went nose deaf and didn't even notice. So you're saying, what, they just walked around dirty and everyone was fine with it? Nope. Picture a campsite 300,000 years ago. Someone tosses a bundle of sage into the fire, not because it stinks, but because this is exactly what home smells like, what your own smells like. And you fall asleep in that smoke with the same feeling you get when you dive into fresh linens. Smoke has antibacterial properties and kills off sharp odors. Many indigenous peoples still smudge themselves with herbs to this day. It's not a ritual for the sake of a pretty video. It just works. Instead of deodorant, a campfire. Minus 1 bottle in the bathroom, plus atmosphere. For an apartment, granted, it's a questionable solution, and the neighbors definitely won't appreciate it, but you get the point. Archaeologists find herbs and resins right at the campsites. Sage, conifer needles, fragrant roots, all of it rubbed onto the body. This was their self-care. No magic, pure chemistry. Just river water, without soap, which strips the microflora clean off. And that was enough to wash away the dirt and leave the skin in balance. And the main thing, they moved all day, and their sweat dried in the wind. They weren't sitting and shuffling around in a synthetic shirt in an office with the windows sealed shut and ventilation that was last cleaned back under the previous director. I honestly tried washing my armpits with water only for a week. How it ended, I'll tell you at the finale, but for now, I'll say one thing. It was extremely educational. Put it all together, and a person smelled the way nature intended, and another's body read it as a signal. Healthy, one of us, and therefore, trustworthy. And now, the part that concerns you right now, as you lie on the couch with your phone. That ancient human by the fire still lives inside you, in the same skin, the same glands, the same sense of smell. and in the nose that instantly decides whether it likes a person or not before you even have a chance to think. Ever noticed? Sometimes someone immediately inspires trust, or, on the contrary, puts you off, even though you can't explain why. In an elevator, on a first date, when meeting someone new, the nose has already decided everything. We say, "I don't know why, but I just feel at ease around him." But in reality, it's the ancient instinct inside you that quietly took a sniff and delivered its verdict. It just doesn't run social media. Here's the paradox. That human by the fire relied on his nose to survive, while we deceive ours every single day, dousing ourselves in body wash with a fresh scent, and buying perfume that smells like an ocean we've never seen, and paying good money for it. He'd take one look at us and decide we've completely lost our minds. The system still works. We've just stopped listening to it. What does it mean to smell better? Let's be honest. One person didn't wash for weeks, ate real food, lived outdoors, and smelled of smoke, herbs, and sweat. His smell was honest. It said, "I'm alive and healthy." The other one is you. In the morning, you scrub your smell away until you squeak, sit in an office all day, and then douse yourself in deodorant so that even you can't recognize what you actually smell like. Our ancestors weren't ashamed of their smell. It was their passport. And we pay money to smell like a forest, an ocean, and the energy of the big city. Like anyone but ourselves. They survived by smell. We use it to pick out body wash. By the way, about the experiment with water instead of soap. For the first 10 days, I was ready to give up and kept deodorant within reach the whole time. Then, something switched. The full story in the next post, if there are enough comments. Tomorrow morning, when your hand reaches for the deodorant, stop. You're not just masking body odor. You're switching off a language your species used to communicate for hundreds of thousands of years. They barely washed, yet they smelled more honest than you'll ever allow yourself to. If this video changed the way you look at everyday things, hit subscribe. All week long, we're uncovering one truth step by step. Who our ancestors really were, and just how much we've changed. In the next episode, we're getting into something you've probably never stopped to think about, but it happens to you every single day. And trust me, after that, you'll look at the ordinary stuff around you completely differently too.